Hi everyone, I'm Abigail. This is James, and welcome to another Two Kids interview.
We are joined today by musician, Newbery Honor, and National Book Award winning author Phillip Hoose.
Mr. Hoose has written many books, including Moonbird, The Voice Who Challenged Hitler, We Were There Too, Race to Save the Lord Godbird,
and the National Book Award and Newbery Honor book, Claudette, Colvin, Twice Towards Justice. Thank you so much for being with us today.
My pleasure.
In the movie Frozen, there is a song, Reindeer Are Better Than People. You are a conservationist and have written a lot about birds. Are birds better than people?
I don't know. I don't know. I think they're just the same. They're living creatures. So I think they're about the same.
Social activism and justice is a big part of your books. Can you tell us why that is important to you?
Well, I think that everyone, has certain rights of free speech and rights of, um, many rights, especially here in the United States. And I think those rights are precious and that they're worth celebrating. And in a way, I wrote those books to celebrate those rights.
My dad and grandpa were at Yankee Stadium in 1999 on Yogi Bear Day when David Cohn pitched a perfect game with your cousin, World Series perfect game pitcher, Don Larson, in attendance. Do you have any Don Larson story that didn't make it into your awesome book, Perfect Once Removed, that you can share with us?
I met him when I was a little kid, and then I didn't see him again until I was about 60. And he was, of course, a generation older than that. And um, at first, when I visited him at his house, he seemed pretty shy about having me around. And I showed him a picture of his relatives, of his mother, of his father, of his brothers, sisters, cousins, and he became very interested in that picture. And all the tension between us sort of gave away, melted. It disappeared. And he called my father and told my father that I was there with him. And he started crying. I remember he was really intensely moved by that. So that's a story that I'm not sure made the book. I don't remember everything that made that book, but that was a story.
You have written amazing historical books like Claudette, Colvin, Twice Towards Justice, and The Boys Who Challenged Hitler.
Can you
Right.
tell us about the research that goes into writing books like those?
Well, a lot of research goes into it in both those cases with Claudette Colvin and Knut Peterson. I read a lot about them. I read everything I could find. There wasn't actually that much. And then I met them and talked with them many, many times until I thought and they thought that I had a good book there. So I finished it and gave it to the publisher, and the publisher liked it, and on we went. Those two books became published, and they were both successful.
We have interviewed a number of authors who have had books banned in certain places.
That means in those places, kids don't have the same access to books that we may have and may not be able to see themselves represented in books.
Can you give us your thoughts on this?
Well, I'm not a big fan of banning books. I think that young people, especially with the help of librarians and their parents and teachers, should be able to read what's available, read what they want. and talk about it with adults. After having read such things. But I think libraries are really important buildings, and books are really important resources for everybody. But I do think that um, banning books, keeping young people from having access to books. I think in the end, I think it's not only wrong, but I think it's not a very good strategy for adults, who want their kids to be exposed to ideas. And so I that's how I feel about it.
Writing a book is a big commitment. So when you get an idea, how do you become sure that this is a story you want to tell?
Well, I'm usually pretty certain that it's a book I want to tell by the time it gets to the publisher. I, I know what I care about, and I have a pretty good feeling for when a book is going to be popular, how it's going to do. Um, so that's I guess that's the answer to the question. By the time I have finished a draft of the book, um, it has gone into the hands of an editor who helps me make it as good a book as it can possibly be. I've been very lucky in my career as a writer to have good editors. Um, and so, that again, that's it.
Can
Pardon
you tell our audience about your music?
me? Well, I play guitar and I play harmonica. I play harmonica better than guitar. And I also write music, and I write songs, and I've written quite a few songs in my life. I love music, and I love to play it and sing it and perform it. I'm in a band now, and the name of the band is Chipped Enamel, and we perform throughout New England. Uh, we don't play quite as much as we used to, because my wife and I go to New Orleans in the winter time, so we're not around all the time. But we do pretty well. My daughter is also a very good musician. She's a piano player, and uh, when they were young, my daughter Hannah and my daughter Ruby were young. We were in a family band. We played a lot around New England.
I've played piano for almost maybe a little more than half my life.
Really? What kind of music do you like?
Um, John Williams.
Huh? I don't know his music. Sounds like
Star
sounds like.
Wars, Indiana Jones,
Oh,
Jaws.
I have you. You can play those themes?
Mhm.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Thank you. Rejection is a part of most writers' stories. Can you tell us about that part of your journey?
I have had 3 or 4 book ideas rejected by editors who just didn't agree with me that this would sell books and make them some money, and would educate people. So it was disappointing. But you can't let rejection get you down. It's more important to um, talk with editors and find out exactly why they don't have the same hopes for the book that I do. And I think that's really important. You shouldn't, if you can help it, let rejection get you down. You should learn everything you can about why you were rejected. You should talk to that person, and um, it does hurt, but you can't. If you're really interested in writing, you can't let rejection get you down. You have to learn from rejection.
Can you tell us exactly where you were and your reaction when you found out you had won the Newbery honor?
When I won the Newbery Honor book, I was in Portland, and the announcement was made, Portland, Maine, where I live, and the announcement was made in Boston. So I wasn't there. People called me, all sorts of people started calling me. The phone rang off the hook that I had won this, and it was a wonderful evening. Well, actually, it was the morning when it happened. The one that I did attend was the National Book Award, and the book that I wrote about Claudette Colvin won the National Book Award. And there I was in New York City in a fancy restaurant um, with a lot of people, including Claudette. She showed up for that event, and I remember I was sitting at a table with Claudette and the publisher and my editor and my wife. And when they called my name out and called the name of the book, Claudette Colvin, Twice Toward Justice, it was unbelievable. It was it made me so happy. And Claudette agreed to go up and pick up the award and say a few words with me, and she did. Um, it was a wonderful night.
What writer has had the most influence on you?
Oh, I liked a writer named Tom Wolfe when I was when I was maybe 15 or 16. He was a nonfiction writer, and he had this way of writing dramatic scenes that made you think you were there. I don't know how he did it, but he he was uh, he was very important to me. So I'd say Tom Wolfe.
What advice do you have for young writers?
What advice do I have for young writers? Well, keep writing and show your work to other people. I think that's really important. And if they don't like it, again, learn from the reason they don't like it. Take their advice or don't take their advice, but just get as much information as you can. And if you could start or belong to a writers group where people read your work and you read other people's work because that makes you a better critic, um, that's good. If you don't write in isolation, with just by yourself and get too kind of inbound, um, that's good. Share your work. That's my advice.
What advice do you have for young musicians?
Huh. Well, my advice, I guess, would be to learn different kinds of music and not just, European classical music and so forth. Learn blues, you know, learn jazz. If you play a saxophone, learn some jazz tunes. You'll grow a lot more than uh, if you just played one kind of music.
Can you tell us about what you are writing now?
No, I don't think so. It's a superstition of mine, not to peek, into that um, until I'm done with it.
Finally, it's time for our Turbo 10.
10 rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Number 1, what is your favorite phrase, Steve?
Gee. My favorite phrase. I don't know. Let's come back to that one.
Number 2, what is one subject you'd love to learn more about?
Um, Cooking. I don't cook, but I should be able to. So cooking.
Number 3, what is your go-to snack food?
Popcorn.
Number 4, what was your favorite book growing up?
Ferdinand the Bull.
Number 5, if you could teleport somewhere right now, where would you go?
Cuba.
Number 6, if you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Flight.
Number 7, what was your favorite cartoon as a kid?
When I was growing up, Mighty Mouse.
Number 8, what is your favorite rainy day activity?
Reading. No, playing guitar and singing.
Number 9, if you could have any three images, who'd they be?
Oh man. Okay. Bob Dylan would be one. Let me see. I know these are supposed to be fast answers, but you surprised me with that one. Okay, Bob Dylan, Paul McCartney, and Alison Krauss.
Number one, what is your favorite phrase to use?
I just can't think of a phrase. What's your favorite phrase?
Let's go.
Let's
Yeah.
go. That's a
Let's
good phrase.
go.
My
All
favorite
right.
phrase is I don't have a favorite phrase.
I don't think I have a favorite phrase.
Number 10, what is the best piece of advice you were ever given?
Um, I asked my English teacher in high school if I would grow up to be a writer, and she said, if you really need to. And I always remembered her saying that.
You were awesome. Thank you so much for doing that.
And thank you so much for spending this time with us.
We can't wait to read your future books.
Great. I'll know that you're out there reading them too. And thanks for this opportunity. I've enjoyed being with you.